Hi guys, VTech here, Blueberry Hill. So on and off, working about a week's worth of stuff here. This video is going to have a collection of stuff all the way from rainwater, finishing up the rainwater stuff, plumbing the sink, putting the water line to the house underneath the driveway, leveling an area for the RV, and also putting gravel around the driveway area right here where you see the water totes. So a whole bunch of stuff in here because we're kind of scrambling around a few parts back and forth, so I mixed it up a little bit. But anyway, enjoy the video. I'll be talking through it as I go. So cheating here a little bit with the tractor, I put one fork on it to dig the hole for the trench for the water line. This is going to be covered with concrete eventually, so I'm digging a big enough trench for a 3-inch PVC schedule 40, and then I run the 1-inch PVC line through that. So as you can see, the actual tractor does a pretty good job with it. It lifts all the rocks and stuff like that too, so it's pretty efficient in my book. It was a lot quicker than doing it by hand. So of course the final dig out of the trench was by hand. There's a couple of rocks. This whole area is full of rocks and stuff, so I'm trying to hopefully dig through those. This trenching shovel is fantastic, does a really good job. So I make it as level as I can, then I throw in, you'll see me throwing some great PVC schedule 40 in there, and then I run the water line through it. So here you see me putting a 3-inch PVC under the driveway, and then I'm going to run the 1-inch water line to the house through that. If we ever have to fish anything through this, it'll make it a lot easier rather than just having a pipe I have to dig up under the driveway somehow. Anyway, pretty straightforward. I just dig a big enough trench and then bury it under the road base. Before I bury it, I'm gonna make the long run. It's about I think 60 feet of PVC that runs to supposedly the back of the garage. We kind of estimated where it goes. We'll fix that up later once we start building the house and stuff, so we can move the water line. It's gonna be easy. But anyway, so here I'm putting the stuff that goes inside the gray PVC together, and then I'm just gonna shove it through there and glue it all up. Now I bury the PVC, and just to make the edge to the driveway area a little more of a transition, I put several planks down so I could drive in and out of the shop easily. Once we grade this, it'll be a 4-inch kind of concrete driveway area. I'm not sure when we're going to do that, but it's probably once we finish the garage for the house. This area is going to get concreted as well. Probably another 20-30 feet out, just so we have a nice area to park on and keep the dirt out of everything. Bought some extra sticks to extend the water line. Somewhere about 20-30 feet behind the tractor, that's where I end it, and then I mark it so we can find it later on. And I am going to bury this so we can drive the tractor and Bobcat around and the RTD and stuff, so we don't have to worry about trenches. Flipping gears a little bit here, I made a metal bracket to support an outlet right there. Decided to put, so I could put a hose right there. It'll be filtered water, which is okay, and then I have another outlet right by the water tank, and that's pre-filter, so I'll probably use that for just generic cleaning, and then the good stuff over here. It's all obviously soft water since it's rainwater, but I made an L bracket, screwed the bracket into the ground, concrete bolts, and I do the same thing to where the pump is. So I made little wooden stands for these things, and then I used concrete bolts to bolt them down so the pump wouldn't move around. We'll see how long that lasts. I don't see any issues there. There shouldn't be any water and stuff like that throughout the wood, so we should be good. So I just had to plumb the sink, basically just right through the wall. That's where the drain's going to go. It's just for generic washing, so it's not a big deal. I'm just going to have it come out of the wall. The next day I came out and I started doing the weather strip, and then I'm going to bury the line. And then eventually Angie and I are going to do a road base over all the pipes, and then get some gravel to cover that up so it doesn't wash away. So pretty straightforward, just a little bit of manual labor. So we ended up getting a 1/2-inch road base, and we're just covering up all the main lines. They're actually supporting the pipe as well, not just covering them up. So this has some considerable weight in it. There's 6-inch pipes, and since a gallon of water weighs roughly 7 or 7.5 pounds, something like that, there's quite a bit of weight in it. The pipes stay full pretty much all the time, all the way up to where you see the tank, where it has the inlet into the tank. So when it's raining and stuff, those things are filled, I guess it's 7-8 feet of water in all the pipes going up, and then all the vertical pipes have water in them as well. So that should be several thousand pounds of weight if you add all the piping together. It's kind of hard to moving all the road base right by the shop there. I put all these big rocks as kind of a berm for water and stuff. So we're trying to put the road base on the pipe. I had to move a few of the rocks. You'll see that with the tractor. And then a couple other areas I got it, no problem. But there's Angie doing manual labor while I'm playing with the tractor. So we made it all work. So switching gears, this is another day. Decided to come out and do the level the area for the RV. We're going to put it right between these trees. It's got a clear shot to the power outlet on the corner of the shop. I installed a 50 amp number 4 wire outlet. It's going to be only temporary, although I did poke a hole in the shop with a nice outdoor outlet. But regardless of that, this is a really rocky area. I had a real fun time trying to dig the hole for the extra tow we have for the RV. It has to be a little bit below grade, so everything runs downhill, as you say, right? So you'll see that in a minute. So I'm going to measure out the area where the water tote goes into the ground. And again, like I said, it was going to have to be below grade, so the wastewater runs downhill, and we just have an external tank that holds more waste, and we'll haul that off later. But here I'm trying to dig with the backhoe. I ended up hitting a couple of very massive rocks, so I had to kind of move it a little bit, but it should work. And you'll see me in a little bit put the tote in there, see how the fit is, and I actually left it there. But anyway, pretty straightforward. So almost done with the hole, so here I'm doing a little bit of just making it nice and level inside there, and then you'll see me put the tote in there, and we should be good to go. We do have to get some boards and stuff. The wheels will go on, and then we're going to get some mulch probably just to go around the RV, because it's fairly muddy right there, because we've been driving on that area, so there's no grass or anything growing yet, but it is starting to come back in other areas, so that's cool. We might throw some grass seed out too, but we'll find out later. So here we're going to cover the main PVC water line, and then I put the road base on the inside the trench, and then I cover it up with dirt on the main downhill section there. So we'll keep everything nice and covered. After this day, it actually rained, so everything was pretty soggy. You'll see me putting gravel down, and it's going to be pretty wet. Okay, so here's a rundown of the filtration system. So here's the pressure output from the past UV filter. The UV filter is a BP 950M. It's a big one. There's a water meter on the right. We just want to figure out how much water we're consuming, and then I put an outlet past that so we can actually use filtered water, for washing cars and stuff like that. But anyway, just so we know how much water we're eating up. And you see a fairly large filtration system. It's a 1-year maintenance one. I didn't want to get smaller ones because it's a pain. Here's the actual smart pump. There you see the lights you saw. That's the pressure it's making. We set it at 50 psi, around there, 55. I did put a 50 psi pressure regulator past the pump. That was recommended from the Raintech guy that I bought the pump from. Rain Harvest, actually, because it was spiking up to 75 psi, which is a little bit much. So we downgraded the pressure, and it seems to be just fine. 50 pounds is quite a bit. It squirts out pretty nice. Anyway, here's a view of the whole thing. It's ready for gravel now. We've got all the road base down, and now I start playing with the making a little trench where the water runoff is going to go. And there's a culvert right past where I'm standing that goes under the driveway. We expect there'll be quite a bit of water here. So I'm going to be making a trench. First I tried this with a pickaxe, and that was real fun because there's actually a very large flat rock. You can see part of it right in front. It stretches all the way back, so there's no digging through that unless I wanted to jackhammer or something. I didn't have to do that. Next you'll see me get a pressure washer out, and I start blasting away the dirt and making a nice little trench for the water to run off, and right up to the culvert. And the pressure washer actually worked very well. I saw that on TV one time. Here it is. So I'm blasting away. It's very messy, of course. Mud squirts back at you, but it worked really well. And I got the trench worked out, no problem. And then I decided to clean some of the rocks on that embankment right there. We're going to keep that there because that's going to be a bit of a berm for the water to run down to the left of this area. The ground is sloped a little bit, so we expect there'll be quite a bit of water when it really dumps. So next I'm going to put the gravel down, and just for this section I just have to put plastic down because it gets fairly muddy there. So I put the plastic down, then I throw the gravel on it. About 3-inch of gravel. I ended up getting 3 yards. That was a fun workout. It took me about 3 hours, maybe 3.5, 4 hours of shoveling. And first I shovel it on here, and then I start using buckets to go on the back side of the shop, and then I use the tractor to actually dump some more down there. It wasn't all accessible, so I decided to do the buckets first. Anyway, pretty straightforward. So with this area done, I'm filling up buckets. I think it's a 5-gallon bucket, and I'm carrying it around the corner, dumping it. You'll see that in a second on the back side of the shop. So I first do that with the buckets on right against the shop, and then I use a tractor to dump more gravel on the big pipe. And we're pretty much not trying to really cover everything, but we're trying to keep everything stable. And we could actually now walk on it without getting all muddy up and all that stuff. And there's quite a bit of water that used to be here. Of course, we've got gutters now, so the water doesn't sit here. It goes in the gutters and goes in the tank. And we have about a foot of water in the tank so far, so all good in there. Yay for tractors. So I still have to shovel the gravel into the bucket of the tractor, and then went out and kind of scooped it out and threw the gravel where I needed it. Made it a lot easier. 3 yards was fairly heavy, so gave me a little workout. It was all good.